I'm in a shiva from my father, Reina Kaparas Mishkavo, David Ben Chavi Yosef Dov, Olav Shalom, and the learning should be for Nishmaso. Since I learn Arukh HaShulchan every day, figured let's learn Arukh HaShulchan Hilchos Aveilus, which is appropriate for the occasion. In the word in Yoreh, Siman Shinayin Vav. Minig Nichum Avelim, Mari Shiasu. Minig of Menachem Abel, what are you supposed to do? Aleph, Omer Chazal Sof Moy Katan. Chazal say that Boy Menachem is Abel, people come to the Sol Abel, Ein Lem Medaber Shum Dibur, you shouldn't say anything, Achal Abel Yidaber Mikoidim, till the Abel speaks first. Shnematz B'Yov says by Eov, Shabo Chaver Menachem, when his friends came to console him, Ve'ein Dover Lo Davar. Nobody spoke. Nobody said anything. They were silent. And then it says, afterwards Eov opened his mouth. Then Vayan Eliphaz Athimoni, Eliphaz answered Vayomer, etc. Really a time. Arukh says, what's the reason? The purpose of Nichum Avelim is to justify HaKadosh Baruch Hu's judgment, accept it, and acknowledge its righteousness. K'moshe Mar Eov, like Eov said, Hashem nasan Hashem alakach, Yishem Hashem mevarach. God gave, God took, the name of God should be blessed. Nachmomi Yitzvono, that's one thing. The other one is to console the Avel from his anguish. So the Avel first has to justify Hashem's judgment, which is interesting. Chiddush come out that when the Avel opens his mouth to speak, and I don't think the meaning is this way, is that he should first say some form of tziduk hadin before progressing in the conversation. But the Torah says the name of the Ramban, in fact, that the Avel starts saying Daina Emes. Base, Onamu b'chazal sham, David tzorich lios meisei b'rosh. David sits at the head of the assemblage. Assembly. Shneimar, but Eov says by Eov, Evchar darkam by Yeshev Rosh. It shows their pathway and they sit at the head. Klomar, Kach Amar Eov. This is what Eov said. Ashlo basi deit tzar until I came to this anguish. Hayisi bocher darkam. I would Hayisi bocher darkam umore lahem eze derech yelchu bo. I was used to choose their path, I guess, of this chabura, and show them which pathway to go, and I sat at the head. It concludes kasher avelim yinachem. Says also at the end of the passage when avelim he comes to console. Vakri hayud b'chirik. The kri is the way you read it is the yud is b'chiruk. The Avel Kai, that is going to Avel Shua Misnachem, who's receiving the Nechama. Amma the Avel Yoshe Barosh, the Avel sits at the head. Nearly Zelo Shayat El Chosim Suda Bebeis Avel. Says the HaShulchan, it's not when they're assembled, but only when they're making a Suda. Kamosha Mikoidem, like it was in ancient times. Tasar Kosas Mashkinoso. We skim 10 cups of wine to drink the meal. Then it's relevant to say to sit at the head as he sits around the table. There's no such arrangement. Always sits a place and people come in. Says that people are menachem who console not allowed to sit on the ground. Oh, sorry. So they have to, they're not allowed to sit anywhere except on the ground. You see, by Eov, it says that by Eov, in that scenario, by Yishvu Itol Oretz, they sat with him on the ground. They bring the Rif, Rosh, and Rambam, which is the base is big three poskim, all bring the salacha, but the two and Shulchan don't bring it if it's tzarchim. Of course, is after that the Menachim do not sit on the low chairs with the other. It says in parentheses here. I guess parentheses here are the same as the brackets in Yoreh. V'lai mishum ben Arukh, v'lai mishum netzleinu min ha-nimnos. In our time, it's not really practical. It was only in their time. When they used to sit, when they used to sit down, they used to sit down mostly on the ground. It also says there, the other came and shini aneh rosho. The other once he nods his head, shumei menachmin roshoim leishivatzlo. The people who are consoling him are no longer allowed to sit by him. Neh rosh u'inyan hamuvon. Now, with this nodding of the head is obviously in a way shenira that it's clear shepoter es menachmin. He is literally exempting, but it means he's trying to get rid. They want to go away. If it's not proper, then they continue to sit. That he should tell them verbally, explicitly that they should go. It's not proper manners. That's why the sign was show you not as a. Ram writes the reason is that they shouldn't disturb him too much. Upashatu. That's simple, obviously easy to understand. The Torah says that when he nods, it's as if he's saying to them, "Go in peace." Go to peace. Actually, the way we should translate it. Ella shalom. The other is not permitted to give shalom. That's why he nods his head. Let's say by us, we don't know the simon. Nodding the head doesn't have a connotation anymore. Therefore, the menachmim have to be sensitive to know when enough is enough and go to their peace. That shvu says that you can tell anybody, please sit down. Chutz mi avel v'choyle, except for an avel or somebody who's sick. And somebody wants to come give honor to his friend. And rise in front of him. The person who was being honored by this, a person rising for him, it's probably for him to say shvu, sit down. But an avel and a sick person, when they're standing in his honor, you should not say shvu. This is you stand. When Avel comes, we don't our minhag is not to get up nowadays. When somebody chashuv comes into me nachmal, but evidently it's not necessarily usher. So the Avel got up to honor somebody who came in. So the person who comes in should not say to him, sit down, because it sounds like we sit down, remain in your sickness or in your Aveilus. And talking how he brings down. That's what mig is that the Avel does not stand, or Chol does not stand. Even when a great person comes in. Chazal say everybody's supposed to stand in front of a nasi, except for a person in mourning and a sick person. Zesh Amru, that's what they said. Everybody can say sit down. Hachipush doesn't mean to say. The Mirasha Avel Ochola on Dumi Panav. It means that if it happened that an Avel got up against the minhag for somebody great who came in, or a sick person, I'm shem lasos kedim shouldn't have stood up. Come, im also came. Never said they did this. Lo yomar I'm sure don't say sit down. Hey, lo yomar Avel should not say Ribono Shalom. Harbei chatzas lefanecha. I sin very much in front of you. V'lo nifrachti many echad many elef. And you do not take retribution from me, even more a thousandth part. We don't open our mouth to in a way which is negative, lest it have negative repercussions. B'shar Shadina, love Yoreh. There's time when, even though this seems like a kind of vetoy, but when it's a shasadin, it's a time of judgment, you don't say such things. It's not like other times. Show me feels when you say during davening things like this. The asota mekachrei b'shas sakara. because the Satan is active in prosecuting at a time of danger. Says Sean, I think this is why we don't say Tachanun in Abel's house. Because there's a vidui in Tachanun, and we don't want you to say vidui at a time when it's a Shasadin. Koshkin vidui, and certainly vidui itself, we don't say, not to arouse judgments. You can say, Hashem, may be your will to fix the fences of their breaches. Do not, he should not say a sin. So therefore he says, also interestingly, I guess by Marv, don't say v'hu rachum. No, it's only a tachanun. By a long tachanun, don't say long tachanun. Says, don't do for us as our sins deserve. We're going there. Similar things. That's going to be Shemar mentioned the house of Novel. Gamavur Baba Kama the Menachmin Oslam and Nachmo Bidvarim. Those who console him, and now to console him with statements, Shanira Kaya Kvodis Barach, which seem to be a lack of the honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kon Shemulo, such as they would say to him, Ma'alanu Lasos. What can we do? You cannot change the decree of Hashem. That should not be said. It's like blasphemy. Sounds like if you're able to change, then you wouldn't accept Hashem's will. You'll be Mashana. But rather you should be Nachman by saying, everything Hashem does is for the best. Except the decree of Hashem was love. You don't know what's called really good. And what's really the opposite? Hashem knows everything. Similarly, you should not say anything else which defies in any way, shape, or form emunah b'tachon. Vav Amru b'Shabbos, where Shabbos says the Meish Ein Lavein Lisnachem, a Meish who has no mourners to mourn for him, to be consoled. Sorry. Blame Masar b'nei Adam Ksherim. 10 good people come. Yoshim Man, they sit down a bit. Shalom in that place, and Mokom Shemeis, where the person died. Kol Shivas Aveilus, all the 7 days of Aveilus. Me'legam Sharam Miskapsim Alein. And then the rest of the people join with them. The Zeh as Menachemim. The Zeh Nachasuach LaMeis, this causes a Nachasuach, causes a satisfaction to the Meis. Yishem Rabbi Yehuda okay, LaMeis Echad. It says that he did this for one person who passed away. And afterwards, there's a missing word here, or something like that. The deceased came to him in a dream. He said, may you have nachas, because you gave me nachas. If there aren't 10 people there each and every day, there's another 10 sharing. Anybody should be there. And they sit there in his place part of the day during all the 7 days of Shiva. Rama says, Lo easy noggin. We've never seen that minute. Because it's done with 10 people, all 7 days, the place a person passed away. This is really about a person passed away, not leaving any known relatives to mourn him. If he has anywhere in the world people who are mourning for him, it's not necessary, because they're all in the hog. This is the probably way to conduct oneself. The Tzarech Lomar says, HaShulchan, you have to say the same Mashal Gemara. This is the indication Gemara, the Ikar Nachazul Shal HaMeis, Ukshiyesh Mokum Shemeis, the primary satisfaction of the deceased is when you sit in the place where he died. It's saying that statement, the primary satisfaction of the mace is when you sit in the place where he died. Zehu, that is the Meish Ein Lavein, Shumakom. The mace doesn't have anybody mourning for him anywhere. When he has people mourning for him, I feel him slow welcome. He's also even if they're not in the place of his death. Become nevertheless love, since people are mourning for him. Nacha rucho, his spirit comes down there. Well, not here. Nacha means his spirit is satisfied. Nothing comes down there. The Eloke and Loyal Rabbeinu Lamar, they came with an hook because they didn't have nachas, even if the Aveilus were somewhere else. The Ramon said it's appropriate to not follow the meaning of having 10 in the place where he died. In parentheses, he says here, the Svarim before the Ikatikra Mesa Mokum Shemes. So I said the primary place to fix things for the mace is in the place where he died. Ramah Tzom Simon Shin Pei Dal Kosav, so it's Baal Mokum Shemes. Ramah says it's appropriate to daven in the place where he died. Sheyesh B'zei Nachas Ruach, gives satisfaction to the nifter. L'neshama, to his soul, Ayin Sham. Like Gam B'Sham Chavanaso, perhaps there he also means Kshein Avelim B'Mokom Acher, when there are no Avelim anywhere else. L'chaim Simukuf Lam Rav Nizbar She'en Mitachim Beis Avel. We clarified that you don't say Tachnun in the house of an Avel. That should be down here in parentheses. V'chein Hala, and also you don't say Hala. And when I was Aveilus for my mother, so it was Rosh Chodesh. So what we did actually was we went out into the hall, and while they were saying Hallow, and they said Hallow. So I guess it didn't hug him. The Torah writes the name of the Ramban. This was a custom days of my rabbi. You bury the dead. They go to a place near the Beis HaKvaros, near the cemetery. And this is called the place of standing. Shabnei Mishpacha, the people of the family. Misakiv Shama Avel. And Avel stands there for a moment. By one side. And the people arrange themselves in front of him, row by row. And row is no less than 10 people. He says in parentheses here, Vavel Ena Min HaMinyan. Others doesn't count. So it's not ches. That in parentheses. And in Shura they mentioned the matters of Tchias HaMesim. Konakel, Hagodo, the great God, Barov Gadol, his greatness, Adir v'Chazak, Barov Naros, with many awesome signs, Mechai Mesim, resurrects the dead, Ma'amar with the statements, Vakshim Rachmi al Mace, and they ask for mercy on the deceased, Lomar Shu Yizkeh Tchias HaMesim, that she married Tchias HaMesim, Enechos and Bracha, there is no Bracha with which to include, Umakdishim Shom, you say Kaddish there. Alma, we say the Nusach, what you say by Siyam. Alma do I see this Chadasa Alma in the world which he's eventually going to renew. A place where we have a custom to do a Mamad and a Moshav. I made a Shliach Tzibor, a Chazan Yitzhak. When we said, Im do Yikarim, Im Modu, the precious ones stand, those are the Aveilus, Vomdim, Baruch Dynamis. And they get up and say, the Baruch Dynamis, Chetzebo, Davar Shal Tziduk Adin, so we justified the judgment. Charmel Lemashat, Shvu Yikarim Shu. And it says, sit, press one, sit. But Chachosi Machiv upon me, did this up to 7 times. Pochsim, Pochsim, the Shiva Ma'amodos, or Shavos. I'm not sure what Pochsim means. Maybe it's supposed to be Postim. You open up. 7 Ma'amodos, Moshavos, 7 standing up and sitting down. Lames, connected Shivas, again, next word here. Bailing, Chuleba Basro, Havolim should be. Hevel Havolim are Koheles. There's an ayin in here for some reason. Sometimes it says in Hevel Havolim in Koheles about the life in this world. Pamazos. This time, Shemalem Im Du Yikarim Hamod Omdim, and this time I guess means the last time when he said they say to them, they say stand up. Chum overing the smaller Avel, and everybody passes to the left of the Avel. Everybody says to him, be consoled from heaven. And then you go to a place nearby. The Sofri, you say eulogies and Mekonim, and you lament, Kedar Kam, as is their fashion. The Chayva Shal Ir, and you go out to the street of the city. And you make a bracha on the coast. Bracha Shemasayim Ba, bracha with which you conclude, Baruch Ato Hashem Nachem Aveilus. That's the Kodesh Baruch who consoles the mourners. Brother Rabbi's brachas connected Shivach Kodesh Baruch Hu. If you want to say more brachas in honor of in praise Hashem, Lachtom Ba Mechayim Mesim, and to conclude that bracha with Mechayim Mesim, Ukeneged Amenachmim Mishalim Gmul, and we want to say that the people come to console. Hashem should give them reward. And corresponding to all the Jewish people, you want to say, blessed he who rests the plague. Just beyond, he has permission to do so. And then you come with Ovel to his house. We make Rosh, he sits at the head of the table. Baruch Dynamis, and Ovel says, Baruch Dynamis. The great scholars of the city come and they expound words of the consolation, each one as they see fit, which of course is very different from what we do today. Test Odi also but Aveilu. He writes in our generation, these minhagim don't exist. They weren't obligatory. And all these brachas were optional. So this is what I mean today. You put the deceased into the tomb, and you close the opening to the tomb. You take off the shoes, the sandal or sandals. It is itself a little bit from the cemetery. So it's interesting, yesterday when my father's Kvura, that's exactly what he did, which is the Minhag of Yakus, which followed the Minhag of the Germans, specifically the Germans of Frankfurt the Main. Is buried in Kaldas Assurance Beis HaKvaros. And they don't say Kaddish by the kever, as most people do. They actually go out of the area, of the section. And just before they do the Shura, that's when we say the Kaddish. Ba'amadu is going to say the Kaddish, Magdishin, he's got his Kaddish, Ba'amadu is the Kaddish, Chuli, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chenkos of Shulchan Aruch, Siv Dalad. The Tziduk Hadin on Omrim Kol Makvura. That's the Tziduk Hadin we say before the burial. V'layla Erem Tziduk Hadin, you don't say Tziduk Hadin at night, v'lo Kaddish, you need Kaddish as well. Chem Yom Shem Omrim Tachnun. Also, there's the Tachnun time recited. Ein Omrim Tziduk Hadin, v'lo Kaddish, you don't say Tziduk Hadin or the Kaddish. Chem Yom She'ein, seems like it's typo here, because it says again, Chem Yom She'ein Omrim Tachnun, Ein Omrim Tziduk Hadin. No, so there's something wrong here. Chayim she'erim mitachlun erim mitziduk hadin v'lo kaddish. Chayim b'yomim she'erim mitachlun erim mitziduk hadin kaddish omrim. What does this mean here? I think probably the first part is a mistake. This should say, "There's a kaddish." In Mizmor Samach Tes, the 69th kapitel of him, Shumazos calling me Gomer v'chaka Omer Kaddish. There's a kaddish afterwards. Yud, the Kosavot, he writes also as follows: Lachaka Toshim Ofor, Toshim Asavin. You pluck out clumps of dirt and grasses, Mashlim Machar Gavam, and toss behind your back. V'rochsin Dan B'mayim, and you wash your hands with water. Ramaz brings down the Yeshua Shiva Pamim. You sit down 7 times in the Arukh Shemlavos or so, because the spirits accompany him from the kever. Each time he sits down, some of them run away. In these countries, they only have a custom to sit down 3 times. After they wash their hands. Yoshua says, and the mace is buried on Yot Sheni, as they used to do much more frequently than today. You can do the same thing. And so too, he was buried right before Shabbos. Also, in Shabbos, he was on Shabbos itself. And there's a custom that you not to be meticulous, not to go into another house before you wash and sit down 3 times. I'm saying the Torah. And the Rabbeim is Torah at Kan L'Sharo. This only would apply to somebody who goes to the cemetery and comes back afterwards. So this thing down 7 times, or 3 times. It's only when you went to the Beis HaKvoros. Not when you go to the Levaya itself. Before you come back, and you come back before the Kvura, which people don't realize. I don't realize that. It was Rikas over Mishum Tsar, and tossing the dirt is because of anguish. You see, Biyov, like it says in but he's called for Roshem, tossed dirt on their heads. Hashemayim towards the heavens. The Gam, who remembers these Kokyo for Nachnu, it's also a hint to remember that we are dirt. And also alludes to Tchias HaMesim, the grass, which is parallel to the pasuk, which says they will sprout out from the city like grass out of the ground. Parentheses. Those who sit down 7 times, and they say Atogi Bar B'chulei. And pasuk Kima Chavitz N'chav V'chav. Bam Rishon, and they say the first time Hinam Ad Ki. I guess. That pasuk is included. Pam Sheni Ad Malachav. Chopam Yosif Teva. And each time you add a word. The first time you say, it's going to say Aki. So you say Malachav, etc., etc. We don't have any of these minhagim today. There's a minhag there are minhagim not to put up the tombstone within the first 12 months. And not to measure, I guess, for the matzeva within Shiva. And whatever's left from making of the wood from making the coffin, should not take for your own personal use. Meaning, as far as Sfardim, who when it comes to people who were great machnise orchim, they take a table on which they gave poor people to eat. They make from it the coffin. Al derech is supposed to be reminiscent of your righteousness should precede you. Yerushalayim don't dry their hands after the netila, going back to what we talked about before, the washing. We also have a minhag not to take the shovels for shoveling the dirt back into the grave directly from another person's hand. When they dig the grave. El Zorka likes to put down the ground. Masheni no the merits the second guy takes from the ground. Chaim Rishas and the Tilo. Also, when washing after coming back from the basic bars, you don't take the washing cup from the person who washed before and wear it from the ground. Yeshu Mesa and Tila, those who say when they wash Kapela Amcha Yisrael, tone for your nation Israel, we're going there. Yeshu Nechotz Gam Aponim, some people also wash the face. You can see that it says Umoch Hashem Lakim Deimon Al Kopanim, Shbaruch should erase all the tears from all faces. Then after to say Bila Amoves, may the death cease to exist. Yoshe B'Seiser, V'Noam. They don't take anything from the house of the other for all 7 days. Some people had a minute, which is a bad minute, to put water in a vessel. I guess Goyim had such a thing. That you can use to put up a candle. The Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam, because it represents the neshama. The only issue minhagim v'nara kapasha. The many other minhagim, and everybody follows their own the minhag. Yud beis hakadosh inin gadol. Kaddish is a great thing. By the way, I saw that that which not takes in something from the base of Avil is only stuff which is already in the base of Avil during Shiva, before Shiva. But stuff which is in the base of Avil, brought to the base of Avil during Shiva, can be removed. So I guess it's kind of like not taking from the legacy of the mace before Shiva. But stuff which is brought in during Shiva, like food and drink and all that, has nothing to do with the legacy of the mace, so you can't take it during Shiva. Yud Beis, HaKadosh Hu Ian Gal, HaKadosh is a great thing. Zem Zakim La Mesa gives merit to the Niftar. Hain Latzim again, both to save from Gehem, and Los Malos, and even to raise them higher. Achikori Akadeshim, but the primary Kadeshim, Hain Masha B'Tol, those within the Davi. Kadeshim Achar Olenu, but the Kadeshim after Olenu, B'Shishul Yom, Einam Ele B'Shvil HaKetanim. I guess for small people who are not of significant stature. Means that for minors. In other words, those Kadeshim were instituted originally for minors. Because minors couldn't be Shluchei Tzibur. They had Rahman sign to say Kaddish, they made the Kaddish for them after davening.Amishochel is part of the Amud, somebody could daven before the Amud. Yagid HaKadeshim Soch Tefillah, and you say the Kadeshim which are within davening. Shem Rekwani is the primary ones. Shachar Tefillah and Yichik time. And those after davening should leave for the minors. V'lo Yigzolosam. And you should not rob this from them. The Rabbi man, I think Tanim also could mean here, not just minors, but also people of minor stature. Not low stature, but minor stature, I think. Rabbi Memar Toim Omar Dikar Kaddish Masha Achar Tefillah. Maybe you make a mistake to say that the primary Kaddish one after davening, Kaddish Yosam, and it's called the Orphan's Kaddish. Then you have to make it smaller. The difference between the right hand and the left hand. There is some Zohar which says that for every Kaddish you say, you save your dear departed relative for an out of Zohar. Some Kabbalistic source says for every Kaddish you say, you save your dear departed loved one from an hour and a half of Gehenna, 90 minutes. So in Lubavitch, where there might be every level makes its own minyan if possible, and they have lots of Kaddeshim, so they can come up with 16 Kaddeshim throughout the 3 fields of the day. And I think it's because 16 times 1.5 is 24. So that's where you save the mace from 24 hours of Gehenna, from the entire day of Gehenna, if you say 18 Kaddeshim. You give him a cuss of Rabbein Rama. The Rama writes, Shanim said Midrash and Kaddish of the aim. So the Midrash say Kaddish on father and mother. Yud Beis Chodesh. That's it. The custom would say the last Kaddish for them, 12 months. And this is also custom with the same the Haftorah and to daven at Motzei Shabbos as the Chazan. She was much less than Shabbos Gehenna, because that's when the Shabbos go back to him after Shabbos. When the son davens and says Kaddish in public, Podo Samin Gehenna, he redeems him from Gehenna. Nagulamar Kaddish al Imo Avshab Yivchai, because they say Kaddish on the mother, even though the father is alive. Vein Yocholim Chos, but the father cannot protest. Shalimar Kaddish Lima, the Yishnasi Kaddish on the mother. Mitzvah the Sanos B'Yom Shemeis Bo of Oim, since the fast on the day in which the father and mother died at Kalashana. Umisha Kasha, Yiksha Kasha of a time somebody who finds it difficult to fast, Yifte B'Mamon, he can pay the price of three meals for that day to tzedakah. Yichakem Lehem distributed to poor people. Nagul Limon Mishnayis. Hey, the customs learn Mishnayis. Hey, Koli Beis Chodesh, all 12 months. Hey, be on a yard site, also on the day of the yard site. Achanish Masam, for the soul of the departed. V'tikin Kol and Neshama, it's a great fix for the Neshama. Ki Mishnah Osios Neshama. As Mishnah Neshama have the same letters. Yudal, O Kasav, he also wrote the Omin Kaddish Afil B'Shabbos Yontif. Say Kaddish even on Shabbos Yontif. Avalon is Palo B'Shabbos Yontif, but the Aveilus don't take the Omen on Shabbos Yontif. Abishain Issa B'Davar, even though there's no prohibition. Ali Mosa Chol, during the weekdays, Mishi Yidal Yispalel. So he knows the David, Shadei Yispalel. Yispalel, so he knows the Am Shadavin. Yosemel Mekash Yosham, and it's superior to the Kaddish Yosam. Shonkan El Tinokos. So here it says explicitly, Ketani means Tinokos, children. Okay, that resolves that. Umish any of there, Yispalel, so he doesn't know the David, called that Tefillah, the entire David. Spalel, call Lamnatseach, Uvolitzion, Gol, Arkan Shom. Not sure it leaves out Ashrei. But it says, I'm saying, Bolitzion, that Kaddish Achar Bolitzion, The Kaddish comes after Tefillah. So it appears the Kaddish after Tefillah, after davening. Tefillah is not a primary part of davening. That which you said you shouldn't daven Shabbos Yontif. Evidently, the Darkei Moshe and Rokech, the Rimi Korvil says, and all should daven in front of the Yom Shabbos Yontif. Abakemish Rabbeinu Ramah b'Shulchan Aruch is Shemitza, but Ramah does not bring this down. Mele the Ein Lo'avel Yispal b'Shabbos Yontif, and all should not daven on Shabbos Yontif for the Yom Im Lo Shu Shatz Kavua, unless he is the permanent chazan. When Lo is Kirak Shabbos Yontif, since only made Shabbos Yontif, Shemam Rosh Chodesh Shar Yomim She'enu Tachlun. It seems to for the Rosh Chodesh others which don't say Tachlun. Ekpeh, that's not a problem. Yochel Avel Yispal is the Yom, and all Kedam from the Yom. Ach bedarkei Moshe Aveilus Shem Mariel the Gam Rosh Chodesh b'Shacharis they should him Hal Ayin Sham. But it says even in Rosh Chodesh Shacharis they should not daven because of the Halal which is recited there. V'Shulchan Aruch Shmitzah Shulchan Aruch Shmitzah Miyok Kapanim Rosh Chodesh Chol Moed Aravis Mincha regardless Rosh Chodesh Chol Moed by Marav and Mincha v'Koshin Shar Yomim and so the other day Shein Min Don Tachlum where we don't say Tachlum. And many people saying daven also shacharis as long as he doesn't lead halal. Based on Makpidim, I see people meticulous not to daven mincha marv on days which at least on days when halal is recited, but some even I guess in some on days when we didn't say but don't say tachon, and he says it's not clear to me why that should be. Tesvav Oka Sahavi also wrote. The Ramah, the Nagush Aaron Kaddish Tefillah Rak Yudal Chodashim. The man is only to say the Kaddish and Dam for the Yom for 11 months. They should make your father and mother have to be Rishon. The judgment of Rishon is for 12 months. And therefore, more than 11 months, Kaddish. In order not to make them into Rishoyim, or not to give them the name Rishoyim, I feel even if it's a leap year, you don't go 12 out of 13, you just go out 11 out of 13. Hashnim, there are Aveilus here, for the but and then other Aveilus came. Yeshem HaKadosh and fails the new Aveilus have Kaddish and Tefillah. Or close 30 days of the day of the burial. Abishlo Hoyu, even though they were not present at the time of the burial. Klomar Beis Esamisa, Vakvura, they weren't present for the death and the burial. Komakol nevertheless, Din Echolem Aveilus Shebekan. Same Lochas Aveilus who were here beforehand. Because of the Yeshua, some say, Shavaryan Shnei Rag Banav. No, Shnei Rag Banav. Interesting. A criminal whose children were killed. No, I said that wrong. Okay. Because of Oviation Rim Shavarian, Shenerag, a criminal who was killed, Kama, Banov Omrim of Kaddish. Students say Kaddish of him. Shenerag Yeshua Kapara, since he was killed, he has a Kapara. Which is why we call people killed by the Nazis Kedoshim. The death was a Kapara. In terms of destroying the Kaddishim, Mikodem takes priority. Yesh min hakim, different customers. The aim is that ikar bedin. No solid basis in halacha. Rabbi Yoshe Ber Soloveitchik, because that's how it says it was done. The post can write about a hierarchy in Kaddishim. It's in order to keep Darkei Shalom, keep peace and shul. People shouldn't fight about it. So that means in front of the Amud, the person who's the most acceptable to the Tzibor should daven. Now this is on days when Eastern is still true in German and Kilos and in Tells, both sides of my family. Yeah, we don't do anyway. That they only said one Kaddish. Only one person said Kaddish per Kaddish. But now, you talk about Mami Kaddish. We don't. Everybody says the Kaddish. Any other wants to. Kiev Shalchek we can't distribute not enough Kadesh and distribute, but the solution doesn't work. Ramah writes, the three brothers and one other person who is saying Kaddish. The brothers take 3 Kaddeshim, and the one person takes 1 Kaddish. You don't go after the mace, not after the Chefza, after those who lied, after the Gavra. The Nas, they say in Brisk, how you find Misa, Gavra becomes a Chefza. Customers, if you get to a yard site for father and mother, show me how many Kaddish Yasam, Lolam. You always say Kaddish on that day. We should say about called King was found something down the entire tefillah on the yard site davens. Yeshavim Acherim. I'm not sure if he meant I think it's just in general, not just the yard site. Somebody goes to daven, davens the entire tefillah. Yeshavim Acherim, if there are other Aveilus present, no go b'shabbatok Shiva Levlam, because if they're in Shiva Hen Kodmin, they take precedence. Ve'ein lo Kaddish Klal. And the other of Aveilus don't get any Kaddish. And it's going to minute on one person said Kaddish. Toch Lamed, yesh lo Kaddish Acher. If it's within 30 days, the one within 30 gets most Kaddeshim, bar 1. He says, brackets, yesh, part brackets, yesh lo, some people argue, Svilu, they hold, the yard said, Koidem Leben Lamed. That yard said comes before Shloshim. Ein Taz. L'achar lamed, after 30 days, kol kadesh also yom, heim shalo, all of the kadesh that they are his. Umonim shiva, I don't even know what he means by that. All the kadesh are his. You know what? I think it's all talking about a yard site. That's why. Let's go back. So they get there's a yard site. He gets all the kaddeshim. Somebody can dive in the entire tefillah on the yard site. Like I said before, it happens. With together on the day of the yard site. If they are there, the other Aveilus are in Shiva, hey Komin. They could take residence of the yard site, Ve'en lo Kaddish Klal, the yard site doesn't get any Kaddish. Toch Lamed, it's in 30 days, Yesh Kaddish Echad, the Aveilus give him 1 Kaddish. Says here it's Chokim, so I'm arguing this, is really the yard site, Leben Lamed, that no, the yard site takes precedence over 1 to Shloshim. Lachar Shloshim, after the other Aveilus are after 30 days, the other present the shul, Kol Kadesh Lo Tzvayom, make sure all the Kaddish that they belong to the yard site. Uman Shiva Shloshim, the 7 and 30 days count Miyom HaKvura, from the day of the burial, up to Shloshim Avil, not even though Avil not here immediately, by the Kvura. V'imorechu ke'echad b'nei ir lein Kaddish, imorechu ke'echad b'nei ir, whether a guest is like a member of the city, the Kaddish, hochen achar mir. So it's Kaddish, whatever minute is in effect. Because I meant Shiva kodim akol. According to this, something within Shiva comes first. Uben lamed, in my yard side, something is within Shloshim, versus permanently as yard site, yesh machlokes kodim. It's an argument. Custom, they said, the biyom shem mafsik lomar gmil Kaddish, the day you stop saying Kaddish, kol HaKadesh yom heim shalom. All Kaddish that they belong to that person who's stopping to say Kaddish, like noise in the yard site Kaddish echad. Give the yard site 1 Kaddish of them. Near the Gamla Ben Lamed, noise in Kaddish echad. HaShulchan asks, that day, still you give some within Shloshim 1 Kaddish. Yuzayin Okos of the Ein Mokom LeKaddish Ze Ela of Ein Bilvad. Kaddish only for father and mother, a little shakram not for other relatives. If you aim a basic essence of Aviva anymore, there's no other on father and mother in shul. Omer so Kaddish, that's the Kaddish, which is Kaddish Yasham says, is said by Misha Ein Lo of the Aim, so he doesn't have father and mother. But Akom may say so, but he says it for all the Mesim Menami so. Yesh Kolon Shinogu Shishari Krovim Omri Kaddish Al Krovim. Places with other relatives, nephew, grandchildren, brothers, whatever, I don't know. I think usually it's not by brothers, but it sounds like any Korov. So Yeshu comes to Shinogu Shishari Krovim Omri Kaddish Al Krovim. Shenavim Avim V'Imam, when there are no children to say Kaddish. It's going to Shafil Sheisha V'Imam, and in some places where even where there are Avelim for a father and mother, Omim Shar Krovim. The other Krovim are also allowed to say Kaddish. It shows him Shorbenin, but they make compromise who gets what Kaddish. Shem in Koka Kadeshim Avelim Avalim. No. That was a mistake. Says Yeshomim Mukom Shafil Shesh Avelim Avim. Even where there are people who are Avelim Avim among the fathers and mothers. Omrim Shar Krovim. It's not talking about Krovim of that father and mother. Still, other people in the shul saying Kaddish for other relatives could still say Kaddish. And they make a compromise. Shemin Koka Kadeshim, the people are saying Kaddish for other relatives, do not say as many Kadeshim as those who are Avim, the father and mother. No, sorry. Period. We follow all these minhagim. As long as it's a standing minhag in the city, we're not going to add more about this.